talk a little bit about the sanitation of your things that you're going to be using for your hair services. So number one, you're going to have all these sets of brushes here. This brush here is the only one that will be sanitized differently than your pick or your skeleton brush or vent brush or your tail comb or all-purpose comb. The only reason this one is different is because this ends up having the rubber base to it, and if I ended up putting this in the barbicide, the rubber base gets hard, crusty, and it's done. So the first thing though for all of the brushes and combs is that you're going to take any amount of hair out. If you leave any hair in there and then happen to soak this in the barbicide or some other thing, you're still not sanitary, right? So make sure you have all of the hair removed from all of your brushes and combs. The tail comb I find is often a good one for being able to take some of the hair out, especially from your skeleton brush. It does get caught quite heavily in there. So you're removing all the hair. That's step one. Once all of your hair has been removed, you're going to rinse this, and the recommendation in the textbook is to rinse this with water and do a soap and water rinse. If you've got a little bit of soap and water, that's great. I tend to just spray them with the barbicide at this point, or my sanitation solution here, just to make sure that I'm getting anything off of them there, and then I'll rinse them in the water. And I rinse that off. This is going to get any debris if I've got a hairspray buildup, any layer of anything on these brushes should come off in the very first rinsing and soaping. So then I'm going to come down and I've got to rinse. I'm just going to show every brush except for my isthmus brush. I've rinsed those, and then these ones are going to sit. Make sure they are fully immersed in your sanitary solution. I've got a barbicide brand here, so your brush can go in there, your tail comb, all-purpose comb, and your pick. And they should be, when you've got them in there, they should be fully submersed in the water. So everything should be entirely covered. If you can see on this one, I'm not sure how good this is, but there's about 1 inch of my all-purpose comb not soaked under here. That part is not getting sanitary. And if it's not going to fit, I'm going to have to flip my comb the other way to get it sanitary. These can sit for 10 minutes. If they sit for more than 10 minutes in the barbicide, it's going to break down the rubber or the plastic, whatever your brush is made out of, and your brushes that you pay a lot of money for are going to not last you near as long. They will disintegrate in probably, months versus they'll last you years otherwise. This brush here, again, is the only one that does not go in there because it will wreck the rubber that's in there. If you just make sure you give this one an extra spray, spray this one twice in there, making sure all the hair is gone. Rinse that out. And then you can dry this brush off with a clean towel. Then you're good. These brushes over here, if they had been soaking for 10 minutes, they need to come out of the barbicide, never directly onto the client's hair. If they go directly onto the client's hair, you're going to have this barbicide, which is not a good pH level, onto the hair, and you're going to cause some damage with the hair with the chemical going on there. It may be just a small amount, but if you can prevent causing any kind of damage to the hair, that's better. So you need to put these again back in the sink, give them one final rinse, and then you're going to dry them off and store them in a sanitary container.